नमस्ते, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया। I am JVN Dr. Minakshi, Assistant Professor in Department of Shalakya Tantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Today in this session, we will discuss the topic scleritis. In the previous session, we discussed episcleritis, which was the benign recurrent inflammation of the episclera involving the overlying tannins capsule but not the underlying sclera. Now, here is the topic scleritis. Scleritis refers to the chronic inflammation of the sclera proper. The second layer of sclera, it's inflammation, and that also chronic. It is called the scleritis. It is comparatively serious disease which may cause visual impairment and even the loss of the eye if treated inadequately. So the scleritis disease was benign. It was not so much serious and there was no such visual impairment. But in case of scleritis, it may cause a visual impairment and the loss of eye also. And fortunately, its incidence is much less than that of the episcleritis. Means episcleritis is more common as compared to the scleritis. And scleritis usually occurs in the elderly patients in the age of 40 to 70 years, involving females more than the males. So, episcleritis was also more common in females. Then we come to the etiology. Talking about etiology, it is idiopathic. Similarly, in case of the episcleritis, it was also idiopathic. Exact etiology was not known. And autoimmune collagen disorders. It was found in association with multiple conditions like autoimmune collagen disorders, uh, especially the especially the rheumatoid arthritis RA, which is the most common association. Overall, about 5% cases of the scleritis are associated with some connective tissue disease. About 0.5% of patients, means 1 in 200, suffering from seropositive rheumatoid arthritis develop scleritis. Other associated collagen disorders are polyarthritis nodosa, systemic lupus erythematosus, and ankylosing spondylitis. So these are the some autoimmune collagen disorders which are associated with the scleritis. Then next is the metabolic disorders. Metabolic disorders like gout and thyrotoxicosis have also been reported to be associated with scleritis. Next is the granulomatous diseases like tuberculosis, syphilis, sarcoidosis, leprosy can also cause scleritis. Next are the infections. And infections, particularly the herpes zoster, ophthalmicus, chronic staphylococcal, and streptococcal infection have also been known to cause scleritis. Then surgically induced scleritis follows the ocular surgery. It occurs within 6 months post operatively. Exact mechanism is not known. It may be precipitation of underlying systemic cause. Then miscellaneous conditions like irradiation, chemical burns, rosacea are also implicated in the etiology. Then we come to the histopathology. The histopathological changes are that of a chronic granulomatous disorder characterized by fibrinoid necrosis, destruction of collagen, together with infiltration by polymorphonuclear cells, lymphocytes, plasma cells, and macrophages. The granuloma is surrounded by multinucleated epithelioid giant cells and old and new vessels, some of which may show evidence of vasculitis. Then we next come to the clinical features. Clinical features will be accordingly to the classification, and patients complain of the moderate to severe pain, which is deep and boring in character and often wakes the patient early in the morning. And ocular pain radiates to the jaw and temple. It is associated with localized or diffuse redness, mild to severe photophobia, and lacrimation. Occasionally, there occurs the diminution of vision. These are the clinical features of scleritis. Next, we come to the classification. Scleritis can be classified as anterior scleritis and posterior scleritis. Before that, it can be non-infectious or infectious scleritis. In non-infectious scleritis, it is anterior and posterior scleritis. Again, anterior scleritis of non-necrotizing scleritis and necrotizing scleritis. Non-necrotizing scleritis can be diffuse of nodular, and necrotizing scleritis is with inflammation or without inflammation, which is also called the scleromalacia perforans. Then we come to the anterior scleritis, and in the anterior, non-necrotizing anterior scleritis, non-necrotizing anterior diffuse scleritis. It is the commonest variety characterized by the widespread inflammation involving a quadrant or more of the anterior sclera. The involved area is raised and salmon pink to purple in color. Here in this image, you can see the no necrotizing anterior diffuse scleritis. Then next is the non-necrotizing anterior nodular scleritis. It is characterized by one or two hard, purplish, elevated scleral nodules, usually situated near the limbus. Sometimes the nodules are arranged in a ring around the limbus, and then it is called the annular scleritis. Here in this image, you can see the non-necrotizing anterior nodular scleritis. If it is in the form of a ring around the limbus, then it is called the annular scleritis. Then next is the necrotizing anterior scleritis. Necrotizing anterior scleritis with inflammation. It is acute form of scleritis characterized by intense localized inflammation associated with areas of infarction due to vasculitis. The affected necrosed area is thinned out and sclera becomes transparent and ectatic with uveal tissue shining through it. It is usually associated with anterior uveitis. Here is an image of the necrotizing anterior scleritis with inflammation. Next is the anterior necrotizing scleritis without inflammation. It occurs in the elderly females. It is called the scleromalacia perforans. This specific entirely typically occurs in elderly females, usually suffering from the long-standing rheumatoid arthritis, and it is characterized by development of yellowish patch of melting sclera due to obliteration of arterial supply, which often, together with the overlying episclera and conjunctiva, completely separates from the surrounding normal sclera. And this sequestrum of sclera becomes dead white in color, which eventually absorbs, leaving behind it a large punched out area of thin sclera through which the uveal tissue shines, and spontaneous perforation is extremely rare. Here is an image of the scleromalacia perforans. As you can see, there is a melting sclera. There is a punched out area of the thin sclera, and you can see the UVL tissue shining through it. So rest part of the scleritis we will discuss in the next session. Thank you so much. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it soon. Thank you so much.